quickly reshaping how we live and work. And here in the Bay Area, we really are right in the center of it all. And that's why each month we have a regular conversation about AI.
And as part of our discussion today, we are diving into the wave of AI companies looking to go public, including SpaceX, Anthropic, and OpenAI, along with rising costs behind that technology and what all of this could mean for jobs.
And joining us live now,
yes, we are excited. It's Darren Kimura, CEO of Bay Area-based AI Square. Darren, thank you for being with us this morning.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
Yes.
I mean, so much to dive into. We just heard Liz talking about this new AI computer chip from NVIDIA. The reinvention of the PC. That's a very grand statement. How significant is this really?
It's pretty big. We're all very excited about it. What it really does is, in the past, PCs were used for applications, right? Playing games or interacting with Microsoft Word. Now this allows you to run agents, which can actually do a lot of actions on your behalf, but do it on your PC, on your laptop, which is not something that has been able to do before.
Okay, and we'll zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
So for people who maybe aren't familiar with all the tech behind all of this, how will this improve their experience?
Well, it allows you to run a lot more things autonomously. So these agents, think about them as like digital workers, things that you tell it what to do, but it could actually do these things when you're sleeping or when you're sick. So these are working all the time. So it allows you to be much more efficient.
Okay.
But what the major change is, it allows it to run on that physical device itself, on the laptop itself, whereas in the past you had to send all of that into the cloud. So this allows it to be a lot faster, a lot safer, a lot more secure. You're not transmitting all that information outside of your PC. It's all running locally right there.
Yeah.
I want to turn now, when we're talking about all these IPOs, what an exciting time for so many people. SpaceX, Anthropic, OpenAI, all potentially going for their initial public offerings later on this year even. Why are so many AI companies approaching this huge benchmark?
Well, it's been a drought for quite some time, and IPOs represent liquidity, or the investor. So these companies are generally backed by venture capital investors. And these venture capitalists will invest for a period of time, sometimes 10 years or maybe less. But some of these companies have been around for a long time. SpaceX, for example, well over 15 years now. So that liquidity has been stuck in those companies. These IPOs allow those venture capitalists to get their money out, but also with a significant amount of increase because of the time and value that was created. So it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, and what is it? I mean, let's talk about why it matters and what changes for a company when it does go public.
A couple things. I think one is the ownership. So when you go public, you now have public investors that can now become owners of the company, whereas in the past, a lot of these are kind of boxed off to larger venture capital companies. That allows these companies to be able to do more things, as the strategy could be more appealing to the broader audience, for example. So it gives them a little bit perhaps more freedom, but a lot more access to capital and liquidity. So employees, for example, now that work for the company get paid in part by the stock. They can also now be able to sell that stock on the public markets as opposed to being locked up.
Got it. And while Nancy asks you the next question, I'm going to come and change your mic just because I think it's rubbing up on you. But go ahead. We want to hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we absolutely want to hear all of your insight. Thank you, Amanda, for tackling that. I mean, it also, when we talk about these IPOs, also infuses these companies with more money at a time they are all rapidly developing. I also want to turn, though, to the average Bay Area resident, folks around here who perhaps don't work at one of those companies, don't have a stake in them. What kind of positive impacts could they see? Because I know a lot of people are also nervous about their real estate going sky high in this too.
That's true. We've seen that in the past with the dot-com bubble. I think what happens is that I get a lot of questions about how do I invest in SpaceX or OpenAI. Now this gives them the ability to actually participate in that, whereas in the past they really couldn't do that. So that's kind of cool to be able to do as a small investor. Go in early. Think all the way back to like Salesforce.com. Some of those very early investors. If they wrote it out, though, a couple $100,000 could be worth a couple $1 million now. That's the opportunity I think that presents itself here.
And we're talking about a lot of the money being made, but we also are hearing that Uber burned through its AI budget way earlier than expected. How does something like that happen?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that's the other side of the current Gen AI focus is this concept of what we call token maxing. So the way that the large language model companies, Anthropic, ChatGPT, et cetera, they monetize is they sell companies tokens. And tokens is what's used to be able to do all your Gen AI work. Without the proper caps on it, some companies are experiencing bills as large as $500 million a month. That's a pretty hard number to fathom for many companies, but that's actually what's happening because we don't realize these agents, like we talked about before, they're working 24/7. So they're not, working, no nights off, no weekends off. They're just working, and as a result, using tokens.
Yeah, and I remember reading about a report recently that a consultant said they didn't realize that they were issuing licenses and just racking up the bills by the millions and hundreds of millions at that point. Is there the sense that companies are just underestimating how much it really costs to run AI then?
It's definitely the case. I think now, especially with the models getting bigger, these tokens are becoming much more expensive. So you're using a lot more of them much faster. I can tell you for myself, what used to take me a day now takes me less than half a day in token consumption, which is incredible. So you just multiply that by every single user out there.
Yeah, okay. All right, Darren, I know that we can sit and speak with you for hours on end about AI and all of the advancements coming along. Thank you for stopping by and all of your insight this morning and always.
My pleasure.